Palmares, a dreamscape. Let me tell you a true story about a place that really existed and things that really happened. Take a deep breath and get comfortable in your bed. Breathe in. Hold it. Now let it out. The historian Glenn Allen Chaney writes, Brazil's Quilombo dos Palmares was a nation of fugitive slaves that thrived throughout the 17th century. As many as 20,000 or more people, among them Africans, Indians, and whites, lived in several cities in the mountains surrounded by dense forest. They were at almost constant war with the greatest empires on earth. In its century of existence, Palmares brought together many cultures to form its language, religion, government, values, and way of life. In 1694, Palmares was exterminated. Nothing identifiably remains, not one bit of art, not one shard of pottery, not one word about how people lived there. In fact, most of the information we do have was written by its enemies. The nation of Palmares can no longer be ignored. Tonight, let your dreams take you back to the Brazil that existed 400 years ago. A Portuguese colony full of thick forest and slaves chopping sugarcane. You are an African captive in the north of Brazil, and you've run away. You and 40 other brave black souls, armed with axes and machetes, fight your way out of plantation life and escape into the thick jungles of the inland mountains. Tread carefully. The ground is jagged underneath your bare feet. Feel the weight of the machete in your hands as you climb up and up and up. Vines and shrubs scrape against your skin. Be careful. Cover your tracks. Don't let them follow you. You feel a deep ache in your thighs, but you push through the pain because you know the hell you left behind. Africans forced to toil on sugar plantations usually only last a year before they're worked to death. With every step, you climb up and away from slaughter. Take another step, another. Keep going. After weeks of walking, you find a place to stop. It's well defended by the density of the forest and the unforgiving slope of the mountain. You feel safe for the first time since you were stolen from your continent across the water. This will be your Quilombo, your war camp. You must prepare yourself for war. Freedom will not come without force. To survive, you will need allies. You make friends with the Amazon basin. She gives you water. You learn to speak with the trees and the plants around you. They offer food and shelter. Finally, the people reveal themselves. The natives forced to flee when the slavers came. They intimidate you. This is their land, their water, their plants. But you are united in your common enemy and your common goal, survival. Breathe in now and let it out. Watch things speed up, then move faster. Plants bloom before your eyes. Decades pass in an instant. Look, your little Quilombo is growing. Watch as thousands of refugees come scrambling up the mountain, looking for your settlement. Africans fleeing slavery, natives fleeing slaughter, and European outcasts all hear your story and dare to hope. They risk their lives to find your Quilombo and to find their freedom. Watch as a man who calls himself Ganazumba rises from their numbers, a holy man who was born a prince in Congo across the sea. He turns this collection of refugees into a unified nation, a nation that prays to saints, to Ori, and to the mountains themselves, a nation of spirit and strength. Your Quilombo is no longer just a war camp. It is a free nation. It is Palmares, the place amongst the palms. Breathe in. You are breathing free air. Now, let it out. You are standing on free soil. You are changing. Time is speeding up again, and you are transforming, quickly slipping through years, swimming through them as if they were water. The king has died, as has his successor. The nation of Palmares is now on its third ruler, the warrior king, Zumbi. You have become someone new. Now, you are a child on the brink of adulthood. You were born in the free nation of Palmares, as was your mother before you. You grew up seeing the dark face of King Zumbi sitting on his throne in Old Palmares Square. You are there now, in the square, with your family. It is market day, and traders from Tabocas, Macacao, Osenga, and all 12 cities in the Republic of Palmares have come to trade. A parade of faces pass by. Most are dark, like yours, but some are light brown and others are very pale. Your mother and her 3 husbands are selling their wares in the middle of 2 large fountains. Listen to them as they haggle. Their voices rise and fall with the patterns of the Palmarian language. It unifies you. You speak it fluently, as well as Portuguese and Congo, the language of your father from across the sea. They bicker and laugh, do business and talk politics. A new group of refugees that came up from the coastland yesterday are in need of homes. Palmaran raiders hurried them through the mountains with an army at their heels. The refugees are still tired from the trek and traumatized from what came before. They will need temporary homes and families until they can fend for themselves. A whole plantation was liberated during the raid. Hundreds of people relearning how to be free. You admire the raiders. People who escaped bondage only to go back and free others, gather supplies and care for the nation. Your family makes medicines. Your education was long walks through the forest, learning plants. You can call them each by name, and you know them each by their spirits. Your family expects you to join them as a medicine maker, but you have other ideas. A raider enters the market. She is not much older than you. Make eye contact with her. Now, look away. You've never set foot on a plantation, but you still feel the call of the raids. You feel destiny pulling you down, down, down the mountains where your ancestors climbed a century ago. Down through the forest that shields you from harm, and back to the coast to free all those left behind. You join the next raid. Your mother worries about whether or not you will ever come home. You hug her close and smile, but you can make no promises. Mr. Cheney writes, not one bit of physical evidence remains from Palmares. The precise location of all but one of its villages and cities are unknown. Historical information about Palmares depends entirely on documents produced by the invaders, and their version of reality is suspect. They recorded little about the society they were attempting to render extinct, and their reports were corrupted with ulterior motives. They had no concept of history, culture, or sociology, no interest in Palmares except its elimination. They wanted it not just dead, but forgotten. But Brazil did not forget. The memories of the Quilombo dos Palmares have evolved into myths, and the tales feed into political debate. Just as Palmares offered an alternative to colonial society of the 17th century, it provides an alternative to the socio and economic problems of the 21st century. The people on the losing end of civilization's endless struggles, the rebel nation is a useful tool for people who oppose military rule, capitalism, class division, racism, and injustice. Thus, myth becomes confused with fact, and true or not, forms a cornerstone of the modern Brazilian culture. Sweet dreams, everyone.